השלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. ממלך מלאכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat
Welcome
Shalom.
to everybody who's here on our campus. Thank you so much for being here, and for all of you who are joining us online, thank you so much for being part of the Stephen Wise Temple Shabbat community. And if you're able to make it up onto the campus, if you're here in Los Angeles, come on up for a visit. It's so great to be together. We're going to have some celebrations tonight. We're also going to have a chance to offer our gratitude, our thanksgiving for making it through another week. And there was some heaviness this week. Yesterday, we commemorated the 4th anniversary of the Tree of Life Synagogue shooting, and there's anti-Semitic incidents that we're responding to in our community. There's heaviness that we carry with us. But Shabbat, according to our tradition, is a time milizok. We're not supposed to cry out in anguish on Shabbat. Instead, we're supposed to find comfort. We're supposed to find strength, and we're supposed to find those words of gratitude for all the blessings that we do have. So we are grateful that we get to celebrate a little bit this evening, and we're going to light our candles, our Shabbat candles. You can find that on page 2, and I want to invite everybody joining from home to light your candles right along with us as we bring in the warmth, the joy, the love, and the light of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת.
We're going to continue with Psalm 95, Lechu Neranena. You can find it on page 12. It's a psalm that inspires us and invites us to sing out to God with joy, to find those words of gratitude and express them with this sense of rina, this sense of joy.
Now
page 20, Lecha Dodi, this beautiful image of the Jewish people in relationship with Shabbat and with God. And it's a love story because Shabbat is a gift of love that, according to our tradition, God gives to us. But really, we know that it's a gift we need to give ourselves by carving out time for Shabbat. So for everybody joining us, thank you for doing that. And in weeks to come, invite a friend, bring a family member, a loved one along who needs that gift of rest, that gift of community that Shabbat provides. Page 28, Baruch Hu, our call to worship.
La
seated.
We're going to take a slight break from the flow of the service to invite Jeremy and Kathy to come forward. With their enthusiastic cheering squad, we love it. Jeremy, when you met Kathy all those many years ago in Wisconsin, you knew there was something interesting not just about her, but about Judaism as well. And the path ultimately led you to be here. Maybe it helped that you were lodging at the stateside or dorms and surrounded by Jews. That probably helped a little bit. But also that you found that you were drawn by its intellectual engagement. And you and I have had many great conversations over the COVID year and then subsequently, and ultimately culminated in you choosing to go to the class and then go to the mikveh yesterday, and now here we are standing together on the bima with Kathy at your side. Kathy, you brought him on this journey. You're going to be married in a couple of weeks. I'm happy to be there as well. What you know is that we're this interesting blend of ancient and modern. And so I want to share a passage from the book of Ruth. It's held up as the quintessential passage that captures what it is when someone chooses to be Jewish. Now, that it was written thousands of years ago is profound. That it resonates today reflects the fact that it truly is sacred text. So Ruth says, Al tifka evi lazvech. Do not urge me to leave you, to turn away from joining you. For wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you lodge, I will lodge. Your people will be my people, your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. I vow before God that nothing but death can part me from you. So as you stand here next to your beloved, and as you pledge your connection, your involvement, your participation, your belonging to the Jewish people, I know through our conversations, and Kathy knows that she wouldn't be standing here, that commitment runs deep in you, that it really comes from deep in your heart and deep in your mind. And so I want to not only officially present you with your certificate that says you have completed all the steps to becoming a Jew, but I also want to offer a blessing on behalf of the cheering squad over there, the folks who are watching online, and everybody who's here with us. Mishe berach avotenu v'imotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, Hivarech et Yaron is your Hebrew name, ben Avraham v'Sarah, Avinu v'Sarah imanu, lehistapeach b'nachalat Yisrael. May God, who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Becca, Rachel, and Leah, bless Jeremy, who will be known in Israel by the name of Yaron, who has cast his lot with our people. You are what's called a ger tzedek, a righteous person who has belonged to us, has become a part of us. May you prosper in all your endeavors, and may the work of your hands always be blessed, as together we say, Amen. So Jeremy, I set you up for this, so we're going to ask you to lead us in the Shema Kenter Tanaz, if you would come forward. I'm going to ask you, if you would, to honor Jeremy to rise, please, as he leads congregation in the Shema.
Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai
Mazel tov, Jeremy. You can be seated. Kathy, Mazel tov. We continue on page 33. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. We continue on page 40 with the Micha Mocha.
On page 42, Hashkivenu, our evening prayer. Ask God to spread over us a Sukkat Shalom, a shelter of peace. And we find that shelter so often in community by coming together, whether we're able to do so in person or joining online. We find ways to come together and support each other in joyous moments and in moments of sorrow as well. God, please spread over us that Sukkat Shalom. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'ha'amidenu shomreinu l'chayim. Ufrost aleinu Sukkat shlomecha, ufrost aleinu Sukkat shlomecha. Yashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom, Leshalom, Vehamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim. Ufros Aleinu Sukat Shlomecha, Ufros Aleinu Sukat Shlomecha. On page 44, Vishamru reminds us that when we observe Shabbat, when we carve out time for the rest that Shabbat brings us, we are not just observing Shabbat, but in some ways, Shabbat is guarding us, protecting us, and caring for us by giving us just what we need at the end of a long week.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
On page 253, we offer Mishaberach L'Refuah, a prayer of healing for all those who are in need of healing, for those in need of healing of the body, the spirit, the soul. And we can add ourselves to that list because we all need healing. We all need the strength that comes from community and from knowing that our community is here for us and cares for us. We invite you joining from home if you'd like to add the name of a loved one in the chat, and those of you here in the sanctuary, if you'd like to say a name of a loved one out loud, please do so as we offer this prayer for Refuah Shlema.
מי שברך אבותינו מקור הברכה לאמותינו, may the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach
Our Amida prayer, the central prayer of our service, begins on page 48. It continues to 62. I'll invite you all to please rise as you're able. And you can offer prayers that you find right here in the prayer book and add to those prayers, prayers of your heart, prayers of gratitude, prayers of praise, and also those most worthy wishes of our hearts for ourselves, our community, all Israel, and all humanity. Take a few moments for silent reflection. Concludes with a prayer for peace, Shalom Rav, in the evenings, and you can find that in your prayer book on page 60. We ask God for the greatest gift of all, the gift of Shalom, the gift of wholeness, the gift of peace.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim. Tasim leolam, tasim leolam.
Amen.
That particular version of Shalom Rav takes me back to camp in Great Barrington, Massachusetts, where I first heard it when it was new. Clearly, if I heard it when I was at camp, it's not new anymore. Jeremy, told you I was going to mention your name up here beyond just announcing your conversion. But you've done more for this community than you might know. As we face the latest wave of anti-Semitism, your decision to join our community is as inspirational as it's uplifting. In the face of humanity's oldest hatred, you've embraced us, as you've embraced Kathy, with love. And thanks, Kathy, for bringing another one on the team. We appreciate it. Now, I wish I could tell you that you'd never have to face that ugly specter of Jew hatred, but you're too worldly, too well-informed, too astute to know otherwise. You know the truth. And the truth is that anti-Semitism, despite moments of glimmering hope, seems to endure. And when it surfaces, there's no question that it reveals the ugliest side of any society where it does surface. It is as old as the Greeks and the Romans. That's where Jews were singled out for retribution before and after their acts of resistance against those conquerors of the ancient land of Israel. Now, it was directed at the Jews as a national entity, but it expanded beyond that to Jews wherever they might find themselves living in the region. But precedents were set for acts that were to follow. With the rise of Christianity, Jew hatred took on new forms. There were views of Christian views called supersessionism and Christian superiority that led to the persecution of Jews as a religious entity, those who rejected Jesus. Ironically, though, Jews and Christians lived shoulder to shoulder in these societies, and despite the fact they depended upon each other to thrive, that delusional hatred and derision, it actually supplanted communal well-being. It destroyed the societies where people were living. An oppression of Jews lessened the quality of life for all, and yet it persisted. Under Islam, at first, Jews fared better for a time. Though never fully equal in stature, Muslim rulers were well aware of what Jews brought to their societies. And so they granted a certain protected status. We were called dhimmis in the Muslim world, fellow people of the book. With the establishment of Israel, however, centuries and centuries of tolerance and a certain degree of mutual respect and mutual advancement quickly evaporated to a uniquely Muslim form of Jew hatred. Enter modernity and the Enlightenment. We hoped when it blossomed in Europe, that things would change. Ideologically, it promised an end to interreligious hatred. But it turns out it only provided the Jew haters with a new angle. The artificial construct of race, and make no mistakes, it is artificial, was now applied to the Jew. Jews were a race now. And so pseudoscience was used to justify the latest manifestation of this world's oldest loathing. And of course, it culminated in Hitler and with his collaborators. They brewed a deadly elixir of poisonous Jew hatred. And what they did is they reprehensibly combined Christian antipathy towards Jews as a religion with racial stereotypes out of the Enlightenment, combined with modern technology. And that's what created a brutally efficient killing machine. If you're not watching the latest Ken Burns documentary called The U.S. and the Holocaust, I strongly recommend it. It's required history. So in America, ever the optimists, we held out hope that this country, despite some brief and frankly disillusioning dalliances with anti-Semitism, that in this country, of all places, we would see it diminished. And we've had a fairly good run, for most of my lifetime, in fact, which makes the last few years that much more disturbing. Because it seems, sadly, that even in this country, anti-Semitism is here to stay. It's the world's truly longest-lasting pandemic. But it never wins. It never beats us. It lays us low sometimes, but it never vanquishes us. In fact, it usually has the unintended opposite effect, because we are usually far stronger for having endured however long that anti-Semitism lasts. So we find ourselves at a strange time in history in this country. On one side, and we have to acknowledge this, we've never had such status, prominence, and power in a country ever. Jews are at the highest levels of government. We're running universities. We celebrate endowed chairs in Israel and Jewish studies at our nation's most prestigious universities and even some of the lesser universities throughout the country. We are affluent. We're well established. We're educated. We have influence in all sectors of society. And of course, we have Israel, one of the world's most powerful nations. We can't forget that. So no flyers on front lawns, no banners over freeways, no anti-Israel resolutions at universities, no words of hate on social media, not even occasional violence is going to change that. We will endure, and we will endure with pride and strength. But these past years have taught us that we can't become complacent, that our times will always require vigilance and effective strategies and meaningful counterpunches. Yossi Klein Halevi is a fellow at the Shalom Hartman Institute in Israel. It's a progressive organization founded by modern Orthodox Jews, filled with Jews from all flavors, and, I should add, newly brought on Arab fellows from the land of Israel. It's one of Israel's most influential think tanks and institutions of transformational learning. So Yossi Klein Halevi suggested 4 responses to anti-Semitism that he says we could learn from the way Jeremy Corbyn was overcome in England. First, he said, define the threat, regardless of its ideological source. And that's important, regardless of its ideological source. Whether it's the veiled anti-Semitism of anti-Israel resolutions at universities, or analogous correspondences by elected officials, or the vehemently ugly utterings of the likes of Farrakhan, or the dog-whistling anti-Semitism of Donald Trump, who tells the Jews to get their act together before it's too late. We know what that is. Or the insane rantings of Kanye West, a white supremacist in black skin, who was legitimized with airtime on Fox News in front of Tucker Carlson. Let's recognize that for what it is. Or the Jewish space lasers of Marjorie Taylor Greene, or the demonization of George Soros as the classic international Jew. So regardless of its source, anti-Semitism must be called out. Second, unite the Jewish community. Now we know, 2 Jews, 3 opinions. It's not easy. It will always be our defining characteristic. But when the margins of our rejection go beyond the far-right extremism of Jewish racism or the far-left extremism of anti-Zionists, and they go to anyone who doesn't agree with my position, they're off the pale, they're not part of my community, well then we're far weaker when we stand against anti-Semitism. Third, says Klein Halevi, reach out to non-Jewish allies. Now, cultivating allies takes time. It takes patience, and there will be setbacks and frustrations. But it requires us to speak up when Black or Asian or Latino Americans experience racism, like we recently saw in our city council. We do it first because it's the right thing to do, but secondly because when we need them, we hope that we can count on them to speak up for us because we've spoken up for them. Finally, maintain optimism and faith. That's perhaps the best advice of all. This wave of anti-Semitism is bad, but the sky is not yet falling, and we need to recognize that. And we have to respond, we surely do. And we must be strategic as we manage this deeply unfortunate and painful wave. But the anti-Semites don't get to dictate how we live. Our Judaism can't be solely based on a response to them. And that's where, honestly, places like WISE come in. Because every day here, we fight for the Jewish future. We educate proud Jewish kids. We study with ever-evolving Jewish adults. We embrace each other in sorrow and in joy. And so, if you are not supporting a Jewish communal institution, but instead you're wringing your hands in anxiety over rising anti-Semitism, you are failing in that last step. If we don't support Jewish institutions, we are not pushing back against anti-Semitism. Because our Jewish institutions are the cornerstones of our Jewish future. We will get through this. We will be better on the other side. The anti-Semites will be pushed back under their rocks, back to the hidden margins of society. It will happen, but it's going to take time. And along the way, though, we will continue to celebrate our lives. We'll continue to embrace those who join our community. We will live our Judaism, and we will lovingly embrace one another. We will continue to seek out allies and support those allies, and we will, on the other side of this time, and there will be one, we will celebrate what we've learned, we will celebrate how we've grown, and we'll celebrate how much stronger we've become. Amen. And how appropriate, a prayer for this country. On page 258, I'd like to invite you to join me. O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect in many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body and spirit, as we say. Amen. Prayer for Israel on the next page.
Avinu shebashamayim, Sur Yisrael v'goalo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit tzmichat Geulatenu.
O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield them beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there, as we say. Amen. The Kiddush is on page 5. Jeremy and Kathy, would you come back up? We like to celebrate with you because this is a big deal. So we know you're looking forward to your wedding. Grab a cup of wine as you come up, if you don't mind. Is anybody else celebrating something significant, maybe the birth of a child or grandchild, maybe an anniversary, maybe a birthday? Anybody? If you're celebrating one of those things, will you stand up? Somebody just got engaged. Stand up. We'll celebrate with you. Come on, why not?
I believe it was Rabbi Stern's birthday last week.
As my wife reminded me, yes.
Happy birthday, Rabbi Stern.
Anybody else celebrating anniversary, new grandchild, new job, new house? Nothing? All right, let's just celebrate life. So stand up and join us in the Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'atzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava v'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron le'maseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh. זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
L'chaim. We continue with Aleinu L'Shabech, page 282.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
Please be seated. Page 292, a meditation before Kiddush Yatom, our prayer of memory. We have lived in numberless towns and villages, and in too many of them we have endured cruel suffering. Some we have forgotten, others are sealed in our memory, a wound that does not heal. 100 generations of victims and martyrs, still their blood cries out from the earth, and so many at Dachau, at Buchenwald, at Babi Yar. What can we say? What can we do? How bear the unbearable, or accept what life has brought to our people? All who are born must die, but how shall we compare the slow passage of time with the callous slaughter of the innocent, cut off before their time? They lived with faith, not all, but many, and surely many died with faith in God and life and the goodness that even flames cannot destroy. May we find a way to the strength of that faith, that trust, that sure sense of that life and soul endure beyond this body's death. They have left their lives to us. Let a million prayers rise whenever Jews worship. Let a million candles glow against the darkness of those unfinished lives. In particular, on this Shabbat, the fourth Shabbat, 4 years since the massacre at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh, we remember those lives that were taken from our community that day. Joyce Feinberg, Richard Gottfried, Rose Mallinger, Jerry Rabinowitz, Cecil and David Rosenthal, Bernice and Sylvan Simon, Daniel Stein, Melvin Wax, and Irvin Younger. If you are in a period of Shiva or Shloshim, the first 7 or 30 days of mourning the loss of a loved one, please rise. If you're joining from home and you care to put the name of that loved one in the chat, please do so now. If you're in the first year of mourning the loss of a loved one, please rise. If this Shabbat is the yahrzeit, the anniversary of the death of a loved one, please rise. And if it's your custom to stand in solidarity with the mourners, I ask you to do so now as we give thanks to God for the gift of life on page 294. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, bi'alma divra chirutei ve'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, b'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'alam ulamei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudashah barichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata Damiran Be'alma V'imru Amen. Yehi Shalama Rabba Min Shemaya V'chayim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'imromav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. May the one who makes peace in the high places make peace for us and all Israel and all humanity. As we say together, Amen. I invite you to please be seated. Thank you, everybody, again, for joining us for services. Thank you, Cantor Tanaz, for leading us so beautifully, and Tali Tadmore, Jeff Stern, thank you for your beautiful musicianship, and Rabbi Stern, thank you for your important teaching and for your leadership. And to our entire crew and staff that makes it possible for us to stream these services, we're grateful to you, and I know everybody joining from home is grateful as well. I want to wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom and a Shabbat filled with peace, notwithstanding some of the challenges and some of the heaviness. There's that hope that Ron talked about, that hope that together we can continue to build vibrant Jewish community. Together we can continue to ensure that the core values of our people, carried for millennia, will continue to influence the world so that we and our children and our children's children can know shalom, peace. Those last words of Kaddish Yatom, Oseh Shalom Bimromav, sing with us, please.
Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu. Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu. Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael. Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu. Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu. Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al Kol Ha'olam. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.